What if one of the most powerful forces behind the biggest music icon of our generation wasn't a producer, a label, or even the artist herself, but her mother? A woman who worked behind the scenes, shaping not only a superstar, but a family legacy grounded in faith, purpose, and unshakable self-worth. Tina Knowles, the woman who raised Beyonce and Solange, has written a book that doesn't just give a glimpse into their world. It completely redefines what it means to be a mother, a builder, and a matriarch. But this isn't the story most people expect. This isn't a highlight reel of awards, tour buses, and magazine covers. Matriarch reveals the sacrifices that never made headlines, the painful choices behind closed doors, and the one question Tina always asked Beyonce before she stepped onto the stage. The question that grounded her in moments of overwhelming pressure. So stick with us to find out what single question kept Beyonce going. Because Matriarch isn't just about raising children, it's about raising yourself too. And what Tina Knowles reveals will challenge everything people assume about fame, family, and feminine strength. Before the glamour, before the fame, Tina Knowles was just a girl growing up in Galveston, Texas. She didn't come from money or connections, but she was raised in a house rich with values, love, loyalty, and responsibility. Her parents weren't celebrities, but they were giants in her eyes. They taught her that taking care of your family and your community was not an option. It was a calling. Her mother, in particular, was a pillar of strength, constantly giving to others and never asking for recognition in return. That early blueprint shaped the way Tina saw herself, not just as a caregiver, but as a builder of something greater than herself. Those early years taught her that real power lives in consistency, in showing up. Whether it was helping neighbors, cooking for extended family, or managing the home with dignity, Tina saw how leadership often happens in the quiet moments, and that idea of small, steady, intentional action is one of the cornerstones of the book. Readers begin to understand that the woman who raised Beyonce wasn't preparing her daughter for stardom. She was preparing her to be whole. When motherhood came, Tina didn't just adapt, she embraced it with intention. She gave up her own dreams of a music career and a life on stage to create something she believed would last longer than applause. A strong, loving, values-driven household. Not out of obligation, but because she understood the magnitude of that choice. Every late night spent driving Beyonce to rehearsals after a full day of salon work, every paper plate dinner, every exhausted moment still ended with love, attention, and presence. Not perfection, but presence. Throughout the book, Tina reflects on the often invisible labor of parenting, especially as a Black woman. She doesn't glamorize the struggle. Instead, she honors it. She shares the fatigue and the pressure and the quiet doubt that creeps in when no one's watching. But she also shares the joy. Those little moments, like watching her daughters shine during school performances or the way they would ask her for advice even when they were already charting their own paths. And when success finally came, Tina didn't lose herself in it. As Destiny's Child rose to fame, she stayed grounded. She wasn't chasing after fame, she was protecting her daughters from it. She famously sewed their early performance outfits by hand when designers refused to dress them. Not because it was a fun hobby, but because she wasn't about to let the world decide whether her daughters were worthy. That decision had already been made in their home. It's one of the most powerful threads in the book, this idea that advocacy doesn't have to be loud to be effective. Tina fought for her daughters quietly, behind the scenes, in boardrooms, in fitting rooms, in family conversations. And her message to them was consistent. The world might try to define you, but you get the final say. Your name, your identity, your character, that's yours to own. As the girls grew up, Tina's role shifted. She writes candidly about the difficulty of letting go, of watching her children become public figures while still wanting to protect them like little girls. But she also knew that real love sometimes means stepping back. One of the most memorable moments in the book is when Tina describes being backstage before one of Beyonce's massive performances. Instead of lingering in the spotlight or demanding a moment, she asked one quiet question. "Are you standing in your name?" That question, so simple and yet so profound, was her way of reminding her daughter to stay rooted, to remember who she is, not just what she does. And for Tina, that's the entire point of parenting. Not just raising successful kids, but helping them grow into people who know who they are, even when the lights are the brightest. There's also a raw honesty in how Tina talks about her own struggles. Her marriage, which spanned decades, eventually ended, and she's clear about the pain that came with that. But instead of framing it as failure, she writes about it as transformation. She had spent years pouring into others and eventually realized she needed to pour into herself too. In her words, she didn't lose herself, she just forgot to keep checking in. That realization didn't lead to bitterness. It led to reinvention. Tina found new purpose through philanthropy, through the WACO Theater Center, through mentorship, and through embracing her own creativity again. She began painting, writing, and traveling, and this helped her reconnect with the woman she had always been beneath the roles she carried. And it's in those later chapters of the book that Tina's wisdom feels especially relevant. Because Matriarch isn't just about raising kids, it's about raising yourself again after the kids are grown. It's about rediscovering your voice after years of being the background music to everyone else's song. That message resonates far beyond celebrity culture and into the rest of the world. Whether it's a mother watching her last child go off to college, or someone emerging from a long relationship wondering who they are outside of it, Tina's story offers a roadmap, a reminder that legacy is evolving with love. She also dives into her relationship with Solange, whose artistic path was very different from Beyonce's. Tina speaks with such pride and admiration for the way Solange carved her own lane, even when comparisons were inevitable. And instead of pushing her daughters toward conformity, Tina encouraged them to define success on their own terms. That kind of parenting, where individuality is celebrated, not feared, is something many families strive for but rarely get right. Tina somehow did. By the final chapters, what emerges is not just a portrait of a mother, but of a leader. A woman who raised her family with intention, guided by faith, and wasn't afraid to start over when life called her to. Her version of motherhood isn't soft, it's strategic. She taught her children how to lead by showing them how to serve. And in doing so, she built something stronger than fame. She built character. For anyone reading or hearing about this book, there's something deeply universal in it. Not everyone is raising pop stars, but everyone is shaping a legacy, whether through children, friendships, communities, or even the way they carry themselves at work. Tina's story reminds people that the most lasting impact isn't always the most visible one. And that question, the one she asked Beyonce before every show, still lingers. Are you standing in your name? It's not just a question for performers, it's a question for everyone. Are you living in a way that aligns with who you really are? Or are you performing for someone else's approval? Tina Knowles built an empire, not from money or fame, but from moments, decisions, sacrifices, and love. And Matriarch is a gift, a guidebook in disguise. It's not loud, but it's powerful. It doesn't ask for attention, it earns it. And for those who stay through the final pages or the final minutes of this video, it offers more than insight. It offers a challenge to show up, to lead with care, and to never forget the power of a name spoken with purpose. Thanks for watching this summary of Matriarch by Tina Knowles. If this story moved you or made you think differently about legacy, identity, or family, be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And let us know in the comments, what legacy are you building, whether or not anyone sees it yet? Because sometimes the quietest work we do becomes the most powerful part of who we are. We'll see you in the next one.